Hey guys, it's Jeff Keighley, and we are getting ready for the Game Awards. The nominees are out. If you haven't seen, go to thegameawards.com to see all the nominees, and lots of debate and discussion about Game of the Year. Five nominees, see if I can remember them all. Bayonetta, Dark Souls 2, Dragon Age Inquisition, Hearthstone, and Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. Those are the five nominees this year. It's been an interesting year in gaming. I don't know what you guys think of those five nominees. I'm sure there are games that we left out, or maybe you think one of the games on the list shouldn't be there. But this is, I think, the first year in memory where I think it's such a wide open race about what's going to be Game of the Year. A lot of debate and discussion. I've seen some people say that they're like Sunset Overdrive is my Game of the Year. Why isn't it on the list? Or other people saying, why is this game on the list? At the end of the day, the judges had to pick their five favorite games, and if we had a list of the top 10. Probably some of those games would be on there, but ultimately it was whittled down to five. That was a tough choice for the judges. I think it's going to be even tougher to predict what's going to win Game of the Year this year. A lot of role-playing games, a lot of fantasy games on there, obviously, this year. Hearthstone, which is, kind of unexpected, like a digital card game, nominated for Game of the Year, up against really epic RPGs like Dragon Age, which is, 100 hours long. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see where the judges vote, and you guys can find out live who wins Game of the Year when the Game Awards is live right here on this YouTube channel. So subscribe and tune in Friday, December 5th at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. We'll see you then.
Daydream, I fell asleep amid the flowers for a couple of hours on a beautiful day. Daydreams, I dream of you amid the flowers for a couple of hours. Such a beautiful day. I dream of the places I've been with you. Always sad with the street flowing by. And then when I kiss you, I find you so near. Tell me why you're so shy. Daydream, I fell asleep amid the flowers for a couple of hours on a beautiful day. Daydream, come and dream amid the flowers for a couple of hours on a beautiful day.
Last year was the first Game Awards that I had worked on, and it was a crazy wild ride to pull that show together. And I think whenever you come out of a show like that, you start to reflect on what worked and what didn't work. And I think the first thing that we realized, I think, is that we wanted to have a better balance between the awards and the world premieres. I'm like everyone on the internet that I want to see tons of new content and upcoming games, but I think we probably had a few too many world premieres last year. So we want to balance that out, and I think you'll see that a little bit more this year, that we're trying to be a little more even with how we treat the awards and the world premieres. The other thing that we learned last year was that music can really bring us together in such a powerful way. That performance between Imagine Dragons and Koji Kondo was one of the highlights of my career to be involved in that. And all year we've been trying to figure out how can we let people from the music industry who love games celebrate them and express that love to the larger world. So we want to do that as well. And I think the other thing that we did learn, honestly, was that the show felt a little long last year. We went almost 3 hours because we had so much stuff in there. And this year we're really going to try and create a much tighter show. It's going to be about 2 hours long. We're going to jam pack it with tons of great content. Important that we take what happened last year and try and adapt the feedback and build on it this year. So expect a show that still has the same amount of heart, the same spectacular scale to it, probably even bigger than last year in many ways. But we also want to, learn from our fans and try and build a better show. So, everyone watching will be a judge of that. But we definitely took a lot of the feedback in mind to try and build a better Game Awards for 2015.
One can appreciate the Game Awards. It's a celebration of the hobby we love. It's the biggest entity in the entertainment space, and we help bring it there. It went from being that hobby that people laughed about to being the hobby that people pretend to love. And hitting mainstream only made things more complicated, per se. There's a lot going on with the gaming space. Everything from RAM chips to tariffs that affects us. But gamers always love a good trailer, a good story, a good award show. But there's always been controversy. There's always been up and downs in the gaming space. But most of all, there's always been art. And it seems that since it became mainstream, we started to see the industry lose that art. Started to do anything to gain an extra dollar on the very people that kept the industry alive. The very people who had to face all types of criticism from people growing up. Who enjoys the art, the movement. And for years things were good. But good things don't always last long. And the Game Awards isn't free from its controversies. I mean, if you ask me, it thrived off of controversy. I mean, I started watching the Game Awards through controversy. I remember when Konami did this to Kojima.
Thank you very much, Kiefer, for accepting that award. And as you noticed, Hideo Kojima is not here with us tonight, and I want to tell you a little bit about that. Mr. Kojima had every intention of being with us tonight, but unfortunately he was informed by a lawyer representing Konami just recently that he would not be allowed to travel to tonight's awards ceremony to accept any awards. He's still under an employment contract, and it's disappointing, and it's inconceivable to me that an artist like Hideo would not be allowed to come here and celebrate with his peers and his fellow teammates such an incredible game as Metal Gear Solid 5. But that's the situation we're in. Hideo is in Tokyo right now watching the show, so we want you to know, Hideo, that we're thinking of you, and we miss you. We hope to see you at the Game Awards 2016.
And through controversy, the Game Awards was a bright light for the gaming space. They took the time to stand up for one of gaming's most prolific developers in gaming history and talked about the situation and made sure that they gave him props and made sure that he would get that invite next year, as Konami tried to block him from going that year. And when Kojima came, he brought one of the most mysterious trailers in gaming history as well, making history once again, bringing that intrigue back into gaming, reminding everyone that gaming has this magic behind it that only he can tap into in his own way. And this was just another notch on Keely's belt on his contributions to the gaming space. No one can deny the love that Keely has for gaming and the love that you have to have for gaming. People giving Phil Spencer Lifetime Achievements Awards when he should be getting Lifetime Achievement Awards for the time that he's spent in the gaming space, doing interviews, doing almost everything conceivable in the gaming space. But even before this controversy with Kojima, there was already controversy about the show itself. And people were asking questions. And Keely low-key showed his ugly side when those questions came to him.
Keep going, Joe.
Oh, you gonna take another question? Okay, so
I'm just saying, so I get your point about MMOs.
you get my point.
but,
Who selects the games, and what are their qualifications to select the games that get voted on this
Pretty public.
contest?
It's an advisory board of journalists from all the top publications, GameSpot, IGN,
Are you serious?
Entertainment Weekly. Yeah.
That's new information to us. That's
it's
perfect.
Very publicly
Do you
available,
think-
Joe. If you look online,
Do you
can
think
find
that the
it
Video
anywhere
Game Awards? So that's basically like a Video Game Awards Academy.
That's correct. Yes.
Well, hey, I'm glad to hear it. You heard it here
So
first.
I
If
feel like
video
you need to do a little more research before you attack us this time.
Oh, snap.
This is not how I wanted to do it.
Come
sir.
on, you're
can't-
attacking me on the
it's a
independent game,
basically-
which is
look,
not what it is this year. You're telling me MMO should be nominated for Game of the Year, yet you can't name the MMOs it should be.
Look-
and you're telling me that you don't know who's voting on the awards when it's public. So, I mean, come on, man. You have these rants.
Look,
but they're
look.
thinly veiled.
They're not thinly veiled, okay?
You see, Keely gets a little flustered when questioned. And it's a simple question, like who is actually doing these votes and who is actually like nominating? Like what's the criterion? Like how do they qualify? These are legit questions asked by Angry Joe. And he said, hey, go look it up. It's online. And it is online. Vague as it is online, it is online. And it's not just Angry Joe. Even game developers are questioning the criterion of the show and its awards and how they're won. Here's Black Myth Wukong's creator here at the bottom of this paragraph saying that the games nominated this year were all excellent, but I really didn't understand the criteria of this year's Game of the Year. I felt like I came out here for nothing. And he's not wrong. Same thing happened this year and plenty other years. There was a lot of games that didn't even get nominations that were questionable. But games, it seemed like the same games were in the same categories. Clear Obscure getting nominated 9 times and winning 8 is sort of ridiculous when you've played the game. It deserved to win Game of the Year, sure. But it didn't deserve to have 3 voice actors up for Best Voice Actor. That made Claire Obscure have 3 chances to win that award when everybody else had 1. It just didn't make sense. It seems like people are dialing it in and it makes people question it. Because what is the criteria? Who are these people who are making these votes? It seems like they looked at Metacritic and voted for the highest one. And I'm not taking anything from any of these games that won anything. I'm saying that when we look at it, it looks strange. And then when people question it, they shouldn't be looked upon differently because they kind of notice that it's so weird. The platforming in Expedition 33 was horrendous. I don't know a single one of you that can say a quote from any of those people. I don't know if most of y'all can even tell me who the last boss name was. I can tell you who killed Joel. I can tell you who's Metal Gears or who's Big Bosses or Solid Snake and the difference between the two. I can tell you who Solid Snake's brother is. I could tell you whose arm got cut off by whom and got put on and taken over. There are stories in video games that are unmatched. And yet, we sit here and watch and pretend that these games are great due to a Game Awards show. If we truly care about it, we need to question when questions come up. It's not a bad thing to question. It's not a bad thing to want better, because that's the point. You don't want the Game Awards to go away. Nobody wants the Game Awards to go away. We only want it to be better. Same thing with Angry Joe. He only wanted it to be better. And so real gamers will want to ask questions. And if the question is, who are these jurors? Well, Keeley wasn't lying when he said that you can find it online. And you can find a list. And this list is very interesting because it answers one question immediately off the bat. Is that when you see who's all on this list, it starts off with the headliner of our global jury. And it is global. But the problem that stood out for me when I first looked at this is that there are a total of 38 American and EU alone judges, right? Publications, different outlets that are in the jury. 38 of them are EU and America. Now, if you think about people who vote and how they vote and what they vote for and what type of games they play, one would assume that they play all of the games that they're going to vote for. But the reason why I bring up the 38 number is because Japan has a whole lot of representation in the gaming space. They have a whole lot of games, everything from Nintendo to PlayStation. Just those two consoles alone, the majority of the consoles that you have, even in the cell phone space or even in the PC space, the majority is Eastern. And in Japan alone, there are only 5 voters in Japan alone. 38 US and EU, 5 American, there's like 2 Chinese, right? And so we start seeing this imbalance, because if you start noticing games that got snuffed, and I'm not even talking about PlayStation, because I don't want to gaslight y'all. Let's talk about the other ones. What happened to Kazan this year? What happened to them? What happened to Metal Gear? Got snuffed throughout the entirety of the Game Awards. What happened to that? And I don't want to hear, oh, that's a remake. No, well, Mortal Kombat got up there. You know, so I don't understand why that has an issue. I mean, Resident Evil 4 was up there, last year or the year before? I think it was last year. So remakes and remasters, that don't matter. So why did that get the snuff? Why did that not get any awards? Silent Hill F got nominated plenty of times. Got snuffed. So it's like, who are actually people voting for what they are familiar with? Are people voting for who they follow? Like Twitter, like you don't know the hype for Japanese Twitter or Chinese Twitter, whatever they call that. You only know the hype that's in your direct circle. And if the majority of you guys are Western developers, or not even developers, Western journalists, quote unquote journalists, well then, how unfair is that? How or why is it like that? Not to mention that in the EU, in the US alone, almost all of them are connected.
It's really surprising how close the entire industry really is. I could not make a jump longer than 3 steps. The longest connection that I could make was Digital Trends to Game Informer. Digital Trends is a member of the voting jury, and its head is Giovanni Colantonio, who previously worked at The Inventory, a subsidiary of Geo Media. This connection extends to Keza McDonald and Brian Shea, both former Kotaku employees, another Geo Media outlet. McDonald and Shea have both worked for IGN, another organization with voting rights in the Game Awards. Currently, Shea is the editor at Game Informer, also a voter. McDonald's journey includes roles at Eurogamer and VG247, both voters, and she is now with The Guardian, which recently sold NME, another voter. That is the furthest connected group of people on this board, and it still connected 3 individuals across multiple voting entities. So yes, it's incestuous, incredibly so. But the Game Awards has to work within the construct of the industry it operates in. It can't simply change the industry, except of course that the Game Awards is the one choosing who gets to be on this jury. What quickly becomes more concerning, however, are examples like MinMax. MinMax is a 40,000 subscriber YouTube channel and an accompanying 10 to 100,000 listener podcast. Started by Ben Hansen and his friends, all ex-Game Informer staff, it now has a vote at the Game Awards. This includes Kyle Hilliard. Kyle was, in 2022, rehired by Game Informer as magazine content director, and now Kyle may potentially vote with MinMax and then also vote with Game Informer. This overlap raises questions about the independence of these votes. And if I were to add Kyle to my web, he would mess it all up, because he was also the mobile gaming editor for GameSpot. He worked for Polygon and IGN and the Washington Post and Game Mill, the game publisher, and Future and Games Radar, and frankly, my entire graph would spiderweb to surround Kyle. Kyle represents what is very common in this graph, someone who may have influence over more than a single vote. Kyle has the opportunity to vote with MinMax, and then to vote again at Game Informer. MinMax also has Anna Diaz, who is currently also working for Polygon, which also gets a vote. And also on MinMax, Jeff Quirk, who also works for 50cc, a video game publicity company. You're going to hear more about them later, so remember the name. This is why it's so very important that we know who is voting and what the process for arriving at that vote has been. Without knowing this, I can't say for certain that some individuals don't have unethically outsized representation. Take, for example, Timur Hussein, who is the creative director for Giant Bomb, a voter, and the managing editor for GameSpot, also a voter. I find it unlikely that his opinion varies all that much from a meeting at GameSpot to a meeting later that day at Giant Bomb. But because we don't know who votes or how they vote, is it unreasonable to question whether Timur is being counted twice? This responsibility lies with the Game Awards. It is their responsibility to ensure that we know this is ethical, that the voting is not being exploited. Before you head down to the comments and tell me how this is just about video games and who really cares about some dumb gaming award, let's be clear that gaming is a larger media market than movies or music. It's not just a cultural behemoth, it's also a financial titan.
That is Mr. IXRT, another gamer that questioned what's going on with the Game Awards. Another gamer that plays games and loves the Game Awards and only want the Game Awards to get better, but identifying the issue is the only way to try to make it better. You'll find the links for Mr. IXRT and Angry Joe's videos in the description. I suggest you guys go check those out, as those are very fantastic videos, especially in hindsight. But the point he's making is clear. In the UK and US, these companies are connected, massively so, to the point to where some of these people are going to be able to vote twice, which can start to make it make sense as to why these votes are turning out the way they are, as lopsided as they are. Why some games aren't being played, some games aren't being, and I can't say played, but not being nominated or thought of. Some great games. And it's strange because when you start to think about the process of voting itself, it's already a daunting task for the game industry. You can do a music award show, be a judge, and you can sit through all the albums that you need to vote for in a day or two. And you can do the same with movies, as that content is about 2 hours, 3 hours in its entirety. But when you're looking at RPGs and you have to vote 5 RPGs, meaning you need to play 5 RPGs throughout the year, right? You need to play 5 RPGs. You need, and look at the game of the years. A lot of these were open world games. Ghost of Yote, open world. Metal Gear, open world. Clear Obscure, semi-open world. Silksong, basically a 2D open world as a Metroidvania. Like, it's just, these are not small games that need to be played. Not to mention the sports games, not to mention the action games and all these other games that needed to be played in its entirety. And that's something that Geoff Keighley said in his press releases. When somebody asked him in a press release at the same award show that Angry Joe was asking him, and you'll find this in Angry Joe's video, where a lady asked him about the criteria of, or the backgrounds necessary for the jury that makes these votes for these games.
Sure, yeah, there's an advisory board that selects the nominees and also the winners, so it's all the top gaming publications, from mainstream publications like USA Today and Entertainment Weekly, on to gaming publications like IGN, Game Trailers, GameSpot, Game Informer, all the big magazines. So everyone plays the games in advance of their release, because the show's in December. We want to make sure that everyone has fully played through the games before they vote, and sometimes it's hard to think consumers will play through all these games by the time the nominees are announced in November.
Okay, so first thing I want to point out is what he said here is that he says that they make sure that every game is fully played through, like everyone has fully played through the games before they vote, right? So all of these games need to be fully played through, right? This is his quote. This is him saying that, and I don't think that's possible already. I think that's a very crazy task to have all of these games to be played and then voted for. That's the only way you can actually properly vote, right? You can't play an RPG. You can't play 3 hours of an RPG and say it was a great RPG. You can't. You didn't even get to the second chapter on that point. So it's like, how that can explain a couple of things. That can explain why a lot of games didn't make nomination, because they're not playing every game that comes out. In order to play every game that come out, you know, like they basically chose a set of games, right, that they were going to play, I guess. I mean, it's too hard, because, okay, Ghost of Yote came out at the end of the year, so how fair was it? How much time did they have to actually play and beat this game? Were they playing? Were they beating this game? Did they beat this game? You know, Clear Obscure came out earlier in this year. Plenty of time to beat this game. Did they even play Metal Gear? Was Metal Gear even told to be played? You know, but they were told to play Mortal Kombat Collection Addiction or whatever. So it's like, who's choosing which games get nominated? And are they actually doing the due diligence of playing these games? More on that later. But another thing that he said was that the people who do these votes are high-level publications and people in the gaming industry, journalists in the industry. Here, let me rewind the exact quote that he said.
And also the winners, so it's all the top gaming publications, from mainstream publications like USA Today and Entertainment Weekly, on to gaming publications like IGN, Game Trailers, GameSpot, Game Informer, all the big magazines. So everyone plays the games in advance of their release, because the show's in December. We want to make sure that everyone has fully played through the games before they vote, and sometimes it's hard to think consumers will play through all these games by the time the nominees are announced in November.
So giant publications and giant gaming journalists are the ones that he's claiming that is on his list online. And I find that strange, because I found some strange stuff in there that aren't large at all. I'll just focus on the English ones, and I'll only give you a few that I looked up. In this, you tell me whether or not these should even be having the ability to vote. Are they big enough? Do they game? Like, let's check this out. All right, so here's a weird one right here, right? So you got Pride magazine. Let me see, where's it at? Like, this is the voting jury, right? Now this is Pride magazine, right? This is one of the things inside of that. Pride magazine is an LGBTQ magazine. I've looked it up, already checked out, did my investigations on it, and I kind of want to hurry up and delete this off of my history. But they don't have much about gaming. They have a couple of articles about LGBTQ stuff in gaming, but they don't have any reviews or anything like that. And if this magazine is supposed to be one of those that plays over 80 to 100 games to their completions every year, they don't have any reviews or any proof that they've actually done any of that. Now let me hurry up and delete this off my damn like another quick example, right? The Atlantic, right? I took the liberty of looking it up pre-hand, so you guys can kind of go through it with me as I go through it. Where that should go? Is this it? Yeah. Okay. So this is the Atlantic, right? You can tell it's the Atlantic, because they have the same logo, right? The red A, Atlantic. So we know that we're looking at the same exact thing that that's the Game Awards judge, right? So looking in it, right, you don't really see much about gaming. There's nothing in here about gaming, actually. You look through it and you just really don't see gaming. It's like more politics and pop culture and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, but if you go to the sections: politics, fiction, science, economy, planet, books, health, projects, family, Washington Week, national security, progress, events, features, education, AI watchdog, global culture, photo, technology, ideas. Nothing about gaming, right? And let's click technology, right? And ChatGPT, AI, the view inside AI, Sam Altman Most Wanted, Victor Wembanyama, ChatGPT, Epstein Files, phone-based retirement, it's very controversial, huge problem, yada yada yada. Nothing about video games. Hell, not even about the Game Awards. You understand what I'm saying, bro? Nothing about none of this. All right. So let's go even further, right? Let's go and search gaming itself, bro. Gaming, right? Let's search gaming. All right. Shit comes up. Gaming addiction, serious gaming. We will have a day with Super Bowl for video games. Nostalgia, strategy gaming talk, Pokemon Go effect, all this shit. But then if you look, like, Pokemon Go seems like the last year they actually did it. This is August 2010, March 2010, July 2016, 2011, 2015, 2013, 2010, 2008, 2008, right? But so let's make it even further. Let's go to new, right? Newest to oldest, right? Let's see if we get some updated shit. Okay, December 10, 2025. The new allowance. Fuck, they got to do with anything. November. This is like right around the Game Awards. So there's not an article about the Game Awards at all, but they vote for the Game Awards. No article about the Game Awards. No women aren't the problem. 2025. Lonely vices of American life. How to make music popular again. The NBA indictments are not what they seem. The company making a mockery of state gambling bans. Sports can't survive. Prop bets. Cash Patel's challenge. We're in politics right now, bro. That's in the gaming section. All right. So it's like, what are we doing? Like, who's making these votes? What are they voting on? How are they qualified? Or, like, maybe they were qualified back in the day and 5 years ago, but now they're not. Are they still putting in votes? And if they are, more than likely they're winging it. Oh, but there was even more fishy stuff up in the game jury. I mean, the jury is actually pretty suspect if you actually look at it. And even Mr. IXRT also has something to say about the jury.
In this jury, it's like peeling an onion, each layer revealing more questions than answers. Consider Dennis Patrick, for example, the founder, manager, and news editor for GameRanks, a YouTube channel with over 7 million subscribers. You've probably seen some of their videos before, as they do very popular top 10 videos. However, why is GameRanks on this jury at all? Is it because they have a couple million subscribers? But if so, why aren't other popular multi-million subscriber game reviewers like Lazy Game Reviews or Girlfriend Reviews also on the voting jury? Perhaps they aren't large enough. So if it's just about size, why not popular MMOs? Why not Sniper Wolf?
Last I checked, YouTubers aren't journalists. They aren't magazines or publications. And they aren't known to complete games. But still, like, how does this make sense? Because you have small and large YouTubers, and you have them in your jury, and they've been in your jury for years. And it's just like, why did you select them? Like, what's the point of you selecting them when there's bigger names that you could have selected, like he said? It just doesn't make sense. But then it gets even crazier.
Why does a YouTuber like MinMax with 40,000 subscribers even have a vote in the first place? Is this simply because of the connections to their former employer, Game Informer, rather than any achievement of their own? And does that connection mean they are somehow seen as more qualified than other press in the new media space? Further, if they are getting the position exclusively because of their ties to another voting jurist, does that not raise questions about their impartiality? There are a lot of people on this list that don't make sense to me. YouTubers, podcasters, government officials. The jury list is confusing, and I keep finding myself saying, what's the determining factor for membership in this jury?
Now, see, if you were paying attention, you would have noticed that Gamertag Radio is on there. Like, that's a conflict of interest, simply because you got Gamertag Radio on there. The Gamertag already is a reference to Xbox itself, Gamertag, but still, when you have people like Paris Lily, one of the most toxic Xbox gamers out there, who frequent toxic Xbox channels and go in their chat rooms and talk all kinds of stuff about competing factors, you start running into, like, what happens when he has to vote in between an Xbox game and a PlayStation game? He's not a big publication. He's not a magazine. His little podcast is very small. They used to be bigger 10, 12 years ago, but now they struggle to get 500 views in their videos. Why is he in there? Not to mention, Microsoft hired him.
I'm ready for the danger zone. But we'll get to that in just a second. When Microsoft Flight Simulator launched last year on PC, reviewers and gamers alike were blown away by the stunning visuals and the depth of simulation. Joining us is Jorg Newman, the head of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Jorg, thank you for being here. Really appreciate it.
Good to meet you. Those are cool glasses. You get you a jacket.
Yeah, I got my jacket as well. So,
yes. Shades Malone himself, one of the biggest liars in the gaming space, who can't help but lie about Xbox for Xbox unless he's in front of his homies. And then he pretends that he goes against Xbox and he's against grifters, when knowing damn well he follow all these grifters. You don't believe me? Here, this is him lying about how he don't follow grifters or any of the negativity in the gaming space.
And just be messy. And that's why I said what I said, because you know what you said to me in person, so don't act like you don't say it when you did. You heard it. Obviously, I heard it. Anonymous other two people that are YouTubers heard it. You said it. And nobody was shocked when I said what I said, because that is the reputation that you have. And then, because what did I even say to him? I was like, all I'm saying is leave me out of your videos. In other words, don't talk, leave me out of your nonsense. I ain't got nothing to say, right?
Yeah.
And then what did he do? He does the most cowardly thing that you can possibly do. I'm just gonna curse. He fucking blocks me, and then makes a video saying that I'm lying. I thought that was hilarious. So you didn't look, and when first I was never gonna watch it. I eventually did watch it, and I was looking in the comments. Yo, they was cooking his ass in them comments too, boy, because they were like, dude, he told you to just leave him out of the videos, and then you, like a coward, freaking blocks him and makes a video anyways and tries to say that I was lying. It was like, I have no reason to lie. I don't even give a shit about you if you just keep me out of your stuff.
I mean, pure drama. I mean, his colleagues, the other gamer tag radio guys, are like, bro, so you punked a YouTuber, good job. Like, he's over here celebrating online, bro. If that's not negativity in the gaming space, I don't know what is. But look at him act like he don't like the grifters either. Watch.
Keep me out of your grift. That's all I'm saying. It's like, I don't do content like that. Anything I say, I believe what I say. You clearly do not, because you said that you didn't. So don't put me in that stuff. That's all I was saying on that. But look, I know I'm being super long-winded. I don't want to drag this out too much. All I'm saying is these grifting dudes on YouTube that are tricking people into money, don't support that stuff.
Don't support the grifters, huh? Because we're not gonna support the grifters, are we? Damn. Hold on. You better not have no super grifters in there. You got a baby grifter in there, but I don't want to see no super grifters. I don't want to see no super grifters, Paris Lily. I don't. Because you're a man of your word. Kind of funny gets good. Well, maybe not. Maybe you don't follow grift. Oh, fuck. Okay. Wait a minute. Wait. Oh, you know what? It can't get worse than that. Can't get worse than that. Those are like semi. Oh my god. Oh, 108. Oh. Wait! Wait a minute. Don't support the. Didn't you literally described what this man's videos, the negativity on top of negativity on top of negativity grift. This is the grifter of the king of grifters. What do you mean don't support the grifters? You support grifters. Can't believe nothing these people say. And it don't end there. Guess who else is a juror? Guess who else is voting for our games? I already don't want this guy voting for our games. I really don't want him. I would rather the Game Awards be clean of stuff like that. I wouldn't even let me vote for no awards. When you know you got people in on your jury like this, is crazy. But there's someone even worse than Paris Lily, believe it or not. Check out who else on there. Survivor. Survivor votes. Now, I don't know if y'all know about Survivor. I did a whole video on Survivor. Survivor got blacklisted by Sony because of the lies they were saying in their reviews. It got so bad that they cut off Survivor. And Survivor took to Twitter and complained, saying that the reason why they don't have PlayStation games up for review is because PlayStation didn't send them a copy and they have to buy their own copy. And it started with Horizon Forbidden West. Because Sony didn't give them games because of egregious, horrible reviews. And here's a list. If you don't believe me, here's a list in comparison to what they review scored a game and then what it got on Metacritic overall. and it shows both PlayStation and Xbox. And you tell me whether or not you see a bias in this. You got Horizon Forbidden West. You got an 88 on Metacritic. They scored it 65. Uncharted Legacy of Thieves got an 87 on Metacritic. They scored it 65. Demon's Souls Remake got a 92 on Metacritic. They scored it 75. Bloodborne got a 91 on Metacritic. They scored it 75. Ghost of Tsushima got an 83 on Metacritic. They scored it 70. The Last of Us Part 2 got a 93 on Metacritic. They scored it 80. Death Stranding got an 82 on Metacritic. They scored it 35. I think that's the one they actually got them blocked. Days Gone got a 71 on Metacritic. They scored it a 60. God of War got a 94 on Metacritic. They scored it an 80. In comparison to the Xbox, Halo Infinite got an 87 on Metacritic. They gave it a 95. For Forza Horizon 5 got a 92 on Metacritic. They gave it 100. Age of Empires got an 80 on Metacritic. They gave it an 81. Psychonauts got an 87 on Metacritic. They gave it a 90. Flight Simulator got a 90 on Metacritic. They gave it a 95. Gears Tactic got an 80 on Metacritic. They gave it an 85. Bleeding Edge got a 66 on Metacritic. They gave it an 80. Ori and the Will of the Wisp got a 88 on Metacritic. They gave it a 90. That one tracks though. Gears 5 got an 84 on Metacritic. They gave it a 90. State of Decay 2 got a 66 on Metacritic. They gave it an 80. You telling me that you don't see the issue that's there, bro? Like the blatant issue that's there? And then when they did the Horizon Forbidden West and gave it a 65, they gave it to a freelancer because they didn't even want to fucking review it. But they know they have control because they have Metacritic credentials, meaning that their reviews go up on Metacritic and affect the overall score of these games. And they use that power and they attacked Sony. And he put out a whole affidavit about how he got attacked by Sony and he's this and like all this stuff. It was so bad that the populace kicked them directly off of Twitter. Here they are on Twitter. And since that spat that they had against PlayStation and stuff they was talking about PlayStation, not even Xbox fans jumped on board and said anything because they saw the exact problem. The entirety of the gaming space literally dropped them off a cliff and they couldn't get any views. Nobody's liking their stuff. Nobody's retweeting. Nobody's commenting. Nobody's paying them no attention. This is a journalist, right? This is supposed to be a journalist. That's a high level journalist, like Keeley said, that's on the jury, and they left Twitter because it was that bad. They left Twitter because it was that bad. The last tweets that they got were basically saying good riddance to them. When they said we're out, we're leaving Twitter, it wasn't no, don't leave, or oh man, happy trails. It was like goodbye. Like, we don't want you. Gamers don't trust you. Why would you even have a person like that or a publication or a journalist like that on your jury? When gamers don't trust them, when they've proven that they cannot be trusted, you have them in your jury? And that's just me touching the iceberg, bro. I can go on all day. But I ain't got the time to go on all day. And I know what y'all thinking. Well, maybe you don't know exactly which person did what, and you don't know who's actually voting and who's not, and you don't have a name. And now, yes, I do. Yes, I do. What you thought? Who did y'all think I was? You see, let's go and look at this particular juror. And let's find out exactly what's going on and see how these jurors actually are reacting and talking about the Game Awards and how much input did they actually put in, and are they actually voting? Are they actually playing these games? Well, let's find out.
It's always weird to see.
Goes to Mario Kart World. Congratulations, Nintendo. Here are the nominees for Best Community Support. Baldur's Gate 3.
I felt like this was kind of a weird category this year too, in terms of just like sometimes it seems like there's a clear winner here.
This year, the Game Award goes to Baldur's Gate 3.
Sure, I guess. I don't know.
Last year. All right, here are the nominees.
Did they
for
put out
Best
a lot of? I
VR
mean,
AR game. Alien Rogue Incursion.
Do they run a good
Age,
Discord?
Ghost
What's
Town,
the?
Marvel's Deadpool VR and the.
That was Jeff Gertzman, host of the Jeff Gertzman Show. If you don't know who he is, he's from Giant Bomb. He actually been on a lot of other publications as well. And that's probably why Keeley gives him the nod, right, to be a voter, right? Probably goes way back with him. He was hiring his homies. Let's just keep it a buck, right? But this guy is credible. I have absolutely no issue with this guy. I know about this guy. I know that he's outspoken. I know that he got fired off of Giant Bomb. I think it was Giant Bomb. He got fired for telling his true feelings about Kane and Lynch. I remember that. You know what I mean? Good guy. But as you just heard right now, they were talking about the community vote, right? And he's like confused. Like, I don't know. Like, why don't you know? You're a juror. Like, you know, like you're supposed to be studying all this and paying attention to all that. But like I said, it doesn't make sense for the Game Awards. It doesn't make sense. That category is a waste of time in the first place. But it doesn't make sense to have that category or have all these categories because they already have to play thousands of hours of video games. Thousands of hours in video games a year in order to, keep up with the Game Awards itself. It's like a whole task that he's asking these guys to do. And this is why I don't believe that these guys play the games that they play. Or that they can't. It's not that they don't want to, it's just that they can't. They don't have the time to play games in their completion. It's like, if you think about, that's just far too much. You're going to complete all of these RPGs, you're going to complete all these racers, all these action games. You telling me you beat Silent Hill F and then turned around? Like, I think in September alone, it was a crazy month. September, October, November, those are deadline months. You got to have everything done by November. You know how many games came out in October? You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, there's other questions too. Like, does Keeley, provide them with games? They got to buy it themselves? Like, I don't think Keeley's providing them with games. That's a lot of people you got to provide games to. That's a lot of people. Some of these people got to beg for codes. They don't work in the industry. A lot of them don't work in the industry anymore. A lot of them don't even make gaming review or even gaming content. I just don't see it happening. That's a lot of money and a lot of time just to get a vote in for your homie. I hope he paying them. Hope to God he paying them. I do. But let's look at some of his reactions to the show.
But that's kind of a neither here nor there. Best fighting, I think, is a travesty. I think that Fatal Fury game is maybe the most disappointing game I've played all year. In terms of hey man, we're finally making a sequel to Mark of the Wolves. Whoops, it fucking sucks. Shit. But it was also the only new game on the, 2XKO, but I bet a lot of people didn't play. I bet a lot of judges did not play 2XKO because of the way it was made available, and it's still technically in some kind of early access, and you gotta sign up. That game kind of snuck out. I didn't know that it was out until relatively recently. And so Mark of the Wolves or City of the Wolves was whatever is the only new game.
Oh yeah, so you barely played it. You're supposed to play these games to completion, big dog. But on top of that, you're saying that 2X2O or whatever it's called didn't come. Nobody really played it. That you don't even think the juries played it because of how it came out. Then why was it even allowed to be nominated? I wonder. So I wonder how many games ended up like that. How many games didn't the jury play? Are they not reporting their playlist, or how does that even work too? How does Keeley even check? He must not be checking. He had a show with an early access game on it. I mean, come to think of it, there has been plenty of mistakes on the Game Awards. I mean, you had Flight Simulator winning or being nominated 2 years in a row. Same game, nominated 2 years in a row. Or you had indie games or games nominated for Indie Game of the Year. I think even won Indie Game of the Year. I forgot what game it was, but it wasn't an indie game. You know, it's like, it's just so many different things. Halo Infinite getting Player's Choice Award before the game came out. Like, it's just so, it's so put together, so wrong. For some, it's so off, and people need to pay attention to how off it is, because like Mr. IXRT said, like, you can't just sit there and say, oh, it's video games, it's not a big deal, when video games is the biggest entity in entertainment. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and games use Game of the Year, that term, to sell their game. Game of the Year is a big thing to have on your game. It will definitely help with your sales. Claire Obscure had a big push on sales when it won, and even the games that got nominated had a big push on sales. This affects the industry whether we like it or not, and there needs to be more accuracy, not only just for in the industry or anything. It's mainly because people just don't want to see things dialed in. We care about this kind of stuff.
Because VF5, even though it got a new release this year with the world stage stuff, which is really good, I think there's a case to be made for like biasing in favor of a new game over an old game. I do think that even if you were to put that bias in place, VF5 is such a better game than anything else in that category that I don't give a fuck how old it is. What the fuck is wrong with it? Yeah, I don't know. Perhaps I'm showing where my vote went on that category, but yeah. I think that's, and you know, the Capcom collection had some really great stuff in it too.
You know what? Before we go any further, I'm gonna need to background check this guy. And look, like I said, I'm not doing it out of spite. I'm just doing it because you're a judge, and you don't sound like you know what you're talking about in a few games you just said. Like, you sound like you're saying and stuff. Like, it seems to me like these are games that you're supposed to complete. Ain't no on a game that you fully complete. You understand what I'm saying? Like, this is what Geoff Keighley said. That y'all completing these games. Y'all the jury. Y'all publications. So let me background check this guy real quick. 2 hours and 46 minutes in Doom. 2 hours and 40. This game was up for, I think, Action Game of the Year. You're supposed to complete these games in order to vote for them. 2 hours and 46 minutes in Doom on Xbox. Xbox is going to include the PC version as well. If you don't think so, you better go check it out. And it's not there. It's crazy. What else? The Outer Worlds 2. 3 hours and 19 minutes. This is an RPG. There's no way you're beating this in 3 hours and 19 minutes. This game was up for nomination for RPG of the Year. How is it fair that this game didn't get played? Even though you need to vote on a game. Expedition was up there. You played plenty of that. But you didn't play this. How is that fair for the games that are up there, bro? If you ain't played all the games up there, how can you vote and say which one is better if you only spent 3 hours and 19 minutes? You're just doing the intro to this game. You're doing the tutorial level. How is that fair? What else you got? You didn't even play South of Midnight. You didn't even play South of Midnight. This was your reaction when South of Midnight won that award that it won.
And the game goes for South of Midnight.
That's probably the right choice here. I don't know. The people that like South of Midnight really like South of Midnight.
You probably would have liked it too if you played it, juror. Yeah, that's great. Bro, what's next? You played Avowed for 9 hours and 19 minutes. You skipped South of Midnight and played Avowed for 9 hours and 19 minutes. Only got 5 achievements. I don't think that's completing the game, big dog. I even got curious about your older games that won awards at the Game Awards that you should have played. And you played 2 minutes of Hi-Fi Rush. 2 minutes of Hi-Fi Rush. The disrespect levels. Man, that's less than Alex. I mean, look, Death Stranding, 4 trophies. You get a lot of trophies easy in Death Stranding, bro. You ain't beat that for sure. You ain't spent more than 2 hours on that. Capcom Fighting Collection, shit, you ain't played that either. And this one pisses me off. Like you played about 2-3 hours, if that, of Ghost of Yote. If that. You barely played the first. You ain't met the Kintane or nothing, bro. You ain't upgraded your swords. You ain't ran into your first fox. You ain't ran into your first wolf. Nothing. You ain't did nothing in this game. Nothing. This game got snubbed, and it's one of the best games to come out this year. Hell, this generation. And you didn't vote for it because you didn't play it. And it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. This right here really made me feel some kind of way. Only because the way it got snubbed. When I know it's a quality game. And you don't know it's a quality game. And you're a juror. You know? Like, it's to me, that's crazy. Now I mean, all of them are crazy, but this, especially once it got snubbed, boy, Astrobot, it got Game of the Year last year, and you for sure ain't beat it. You played it a lot, maybe. Could be your kids playing it, but I don't know. But you played it. But you didn't beat it. You're supposed to play these games to their completion. This won Game of the Year last year. And this is how much you played it. That's wild, bro. I mean, at this point, I was just checking shit. Fucking Stellar Blade 1 trophy. Stellar Blade 1 trophy is crazy to me. That's crazy to me. What else? Spider-Man 2. This game got snubbed. That's 2 games that got snubbed that you didn't play and you're a juror. That's 2 games, bro, that got snubbed that you didn't play. That is What else? You a juror. How don't you play God of War? How do you manage this? How do you manage this? You're a juror. You're supposed to play these games to their completion. I don't want to hear nothing from nobody saying he probably played it on PC. This game didn't launch day and date on PC. Launched the next year on PC. And, you know, the Game Awards had already passed by the time it came out on PC. I don't want to hear none of that. You are a juror. You have a responsibility. Or don't be a juror. Give the juror job to somebody who is going to vote for games, who is going to play these games and vote for them to give these games. People are flying out from other countries to go to these award shows, bro. They're flying out for no reason. Just like the Wukong guy said, I flew out here for no reason. What's the criterion for winning? And y'all not even voting, or you're not playing these games. You're going to Twitter, you're going to YouTube, and you're seeing what's popular. And now it tarnishes every single Game Awards winners, losers. It tarnishes that entire system. The entire system is tarnished because I know you're not the only one. I just not finna go through all the time. I don't got the patience to go through all of that, all of y'all stuff. I just don't got the time. I'm not gonna make a video based on that. But you being an example yourself is showing that you guys are doing gamers a disservice. You're doing the Game Awards a disservice. You're doing these developers a disservice. They work hard. And this stuff means a lot to them. It's a billion-dollar industry. These games can be getting celebrated for the greatness that they are, and it seems like they're being ignored, and you just frequenting Twitter or YouTube or wherever and getting your information and then voting accordingly. And I guarantee you a lot of y'all doing that. Because, again, it's unreasonable to ask y'all to play all these games. There needs to be a better system. But you're not even like turning these games on, bro. Horizon Forbidden West, another game that got snubbed and you didn't play. I was tripping off Horizon Forbidden West not winning a single award. Now I know why. It's because y'all are choosing which games to play. And like we was looking at earlier, a lot of y'all are connected. A lot of y'all know each other. All y'all connected. It's who you voting for. That's what's going on. That's why Claire won the way it did. That's why Elden Ring won the way it did. That's why God of War won the way it did. You didn't play it. You just had somebody tell you to vote for it. You can't give no games no props. Nobody can give no games no props because this is how tarnished the Game Awards is. I mean, you got Deathloop that was nominated for Game of the Year that you didn't play. You got, what is this, God of War Original that won Game of the Year that you didn't play. You got Spider-Man, the first one that got nominated for Game of the Year that you didn't play. It's just like you're just not playing these games. And it's not just Sony games. It's just games. You want to play old games. You shouldn't be a juror. A lot of y'all shouldn't be a juror. This show shouldn't exist. Because there clearly is no one checking up on y'all to see if y'all even playing these games that y'all voting on. But I get why. You see, there was a reason why Geoff Keighley was mad at Angry Joe for asking him the real questions. It's because he didn't have a real answer. He had to tell you what his PR team told him. That's what he had to do. He sounded like a PR guy. Disrespectful. Funny, like you see a whole change in his demeanor. He was annoyed because he was asked these questions, but he's paid to run the show. He's trying to make money. We're interrupting his business. You asking questions, Joe asking questions, all of us asking questions hurts their business. And then we have to choose in between just watching you bullshit us throughout this entire thing just to make money off of Game Award ads. I mean, it's so bad that there was a whole influx of indie games that posted their trailers and they put the caption of, "We couldn't afford $1 million to have our game trailer on Game Awards, so I'll put it here." And I know that they all did that for a reason. Because they're showing like, hey, they're not even showing games, bro. They want $1 million to show our games. Because it's no longer about celebrating games. It's never been. It's always been about trying to find a platform for people to put ads on. And they charge you $1 million an ad. How many awards did we watch them just skim through? They didn't have like no people come up for every award. You know, there was only a certain sum, and then some of them even was like the Spotify one. When it came to the best score in music, Spotify had to sponsor that for y'all to say, "Oh, we'll have somebody come up on stage." There's a reason why the trailers that we saw at this year's and last year's Game Awards was so trash. It's because you're charging so much money, and so now it's tarnishing the entirety of the Game Awards. Your jury isn't playing these games or properly voting. The system that you have is broken. Most of them are connected, and a lot of people are voting more than once. You have people like Paris and Survivor. You have those publications who are known to be biased. You have them openly as jurors. You have publications that have absolutely nothing to do with gaming. to have a vote for some reason. The CBC, that's a government agency. What are they doing? What are they talking about? What games are they reviewing? You're telling me that the government is sitting back and playing 1,000 hours worth of games to properly do votes? Because that's the only way you could properly do this. The only way it could properly be done is if they spend over 1,000 hours playing games for the Game Awards benefit. That's the only way you're going to get an accurate vote. And a lot of gamers today don't have that amount of time for your little 3-hour show that you said you was going to reduce to 2 and focus more on awards, and then turn around and you look at the show and it's nothing like that. It's all money. It's all based on money. And now it's to the point to where real people are being able to see through this bullshit. And it was visible to real gamers for a very long time. We've talked about this before. I stopped watching for awards because I saw how bullshit they were. Not just the game of the year. It's just like throughout the entire show, you'll see the same games getting voted for. And now we know why. It's because they're just communicating with each other and asking each other what you voting on. What y'all want to win this year. These are the same guys who connected to the same guys who make publications about games and boost them up and do all of this stuff. Talk about woke this and this, that. Like Ghost of Yotei went and, got all kind of tarnishment over because she was a girl and they called it woke. Or the Harry Potter game, which probably was the biggest selling game that year, didn't get a single vote because of what the lady said. So it's not about the quality of the game, is it? It's about, what this jury that you set up feels. And who can all agree on what they feel. And if we look at your jury, it's based mostly on the Western side, even though like the Japanese, the Koreans, and the Chinese are coming up in so many different ways, but they don't have any representation. But this is supposed to be a global event. Gaming is global. Gaming is not Western based. Hell, Capcom paid you how much money this year for your show? And I'm not saying that you're supposed to give them awards for it. I'm just saying that they are supporting it because they are a part of the gaming industry and they're for the gaming industry. How many different Capcoms? I don't know if y'all noticed how many Capcom trailers you had. Street Fighter, you had Resident Evil, you had Pragmata. How many? You had plenty of games. There's more than that too. Capcom collections and all kind of stuff. Capcom was all over the show this year. They gave y'all a ton of money. And it's sad to see that they won't get the representation they deserve. Sat there and watched Kojima not win a single award for one of the most unique games ever created. We sit there and watch the same Kingdom Come Deliverance, the same games. Hades winning Action Game of the Year. Kazan don't even get a nomination. Hades. That's who. Avowed getting voted for or nominated for RPG of the Year, but we ignore Trails in the Sky. We ignore Digimon, the two better games. Nah. No. Who's making these? It seems like Sick Humor said. He said, it seems like if it wasn't on PC, it didn't get nominated. It's crazy to sit there and watch Spider-Man 2 get snubbed. For what? It's a great game. Every game has its flaws. If Claire Obscure can win Game of the Year and win the most awards in the show's history, and Spider-Man not win one, and Horizon not win one, and Metal Gear not win one, and fuck, bro, Silent Hill not win one, it's crazy to me, bro. Just watching over the years, just watching it. Just to watch Halo Infinite get Player's Choice Award, but then not get a single award when it was qualified to actually get an award. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. Like, it's just so many. I mean, Tales of Arise not getting RPG of the Year is crazy. Not getting nominated for Game of the Year is insane to me. Insane to me. It's just the same thing over and over and over again. Y'all mock the people who look out for gaming just so y'all can make a buck off of us. Y'all give us bad trailers, you give us a bad show, you give out bad awards, and we don't even know who deserves what or not. So it's all an opinion. The show is useless. But it is what it is. Because at the end of the day, them fixing the show is just probably a personal.
I fell asleep amid the flowers for a couple of hours on a beautiful